these are some of the ways that we might recognize ourselves if we are disconnected from our sacred source self. So in my case, I had a lot of anxiety. In anxiety comes worry. Maybe you're a little bit like I was. If you looked at me from the outside, it looked as if I was okay, but actually I wasn't. We have these patterns that have been taught to us by society, which is endless doing. We don't have an awful lot of meaning in our lives, and we're always searching for something. There's a phrase in French where they say metro, which is the underground in Paris, metro, boulot, which is French, work, French word for work, dodo, which is go to sleep. Metro, boulot, dodo. So that kind of means get on the underground, go to work, come home, go to sleep. And you get back on the underground, you come home and you go to sleep. So it's kind of that treadmill that we've all got on at some point. Well, maybe not all of us, but some of it you might recognize. So it certainly was part of mine. So what I would invite us all to do now is just to take a moment in whatever way. You don't have to do this, but if you'd like to join me, and just placing your hands over your sacral chakra, or it could be your heart chakra, or it could be both, and just call in what I would call your co-creative potential. Because I truly, truly believe we all have inside of us something that we came here on this earth to share. And talking about it like that doesn't always sit hugely comfortably in our kind of more outside world. But together in safe places like this, we can absolutely discuss it. So here in this place, I believe, I call it our magic. It's that place where we can do things that we didn't think were possible. And it's our inner flow of wealth as well. All of those things. So just connecting in that place can be hugely, hugely helpful. And just asking ourselves where there might be old patterns of the more yang, masculine world, where we might want to just ask if they're helpful or not. So other ways of finding this beautiful place inside of us, which I'm calling our inner well. We can place our hands on our belly and just open ourselves to receive. We can listen to our feelings, something that I have had to learn to do, and Essences helped me massively. Allowing time and space around us, walking barefoot outside on the earth, being with nature, and just allowing the creativity of nature to flow through us. So there are all ways that we can just start to quieten ourselves from that busy outer world and the busy head and the busy life we have for most of us, and for the ability to find nature within ourselves, even if we don't have it literally outside our front door. So I'm going to bring today priestess and run priestess trainings through my energy system, so I can't also, so as well as all of the nature kingdom that comes through me and the priestess trainings, and my teacher self. So I'm going to talk to us a little bit about the world from the elemental world, which I see as actually how we do create, using the sacred principles of the earth and the co-creation of the different elements. I'd like to just remind us all of the feminine and the masculine axis that we all have and is part of the elements of this world. So the feminine axis is the earth element and the water element. I'm going to go through these in more detail, but this is just an introduction. So the feminine axis is literally comes through the crown chakra and comes all the way down through our chakra system into the earth. And to kind of put it in more everyday language, if that's possible, it's the source energy that flows through us that makes us who we are, is the frequency that we emit into the world. And so this energy in itself is not a physical energy, it's literally in frequency, it's in vibration form. And then we have the other equally important part, and just before that, so I'm going to talk about the masculine axis as well, but in our world we've mostly been, certainly in my case anyway, and what I see out picturing in many people that I know and that I work with, it's that we operate very much from a kind of masculine type axis. And so we kind of switch over to a more feminine and leave the masculine out, which isn't terribly helpful either. So if we work just with our feminine axis as a frequency and source, maybe a little bit more on our higher chakras, we might find that we're very in touch with source, but we don't know how to take action in the world. We don't know how to direct that flow. And maybe we also struggle to create financial flow in our lives or to be effective in the everyday world. It was certainly my experience of this. I had the wisdom, but I just didn't know how to put it out into the world in a way that would be useful to others and to myself. So if we have the feminine flow that is usually this direction, we also have the masculine flow. So we have, whoops, if I can get my hands in the right place, we have this kind of cross that comes through. The masculine axis, the elements are air and fire. And this is where we take the flow that comes through us and then we apply different elements to actually direct it into the world, which is air, and actually take the actions to make it manifest. So this is more of the doing masculine world, which is just as important as the feminine world, but they do need to sit together. So let's have a look at how the masculine might look without the feminine. So big issue in our world right now, especially in these 2 years after the pandemic. We're seeing lots of exhaustion, not just on the physical, but also on the spiritual. We can feel very dried up, very burned out. Interestingly, in France, the word for burnout is le burnout. You know, it's like a very real global situation right now. Maybe as well, if we're operating out of the masculine without the feminine energies, maybe the resources that we have aren't enough. You know, there's not enough of the nourishment and nurturing in it to fill us out and fill up other people. And we don't have so much connection to how what we're doing in the world is actually impacting the world, because ideally nowadays, especially in our beautiful essence world, we want this, whatever we do, we want the nourishing energies to move out there with it and impact in abundant ways. And of course, when the masculine works without the feminine, our earth suffers. And when our earth suffers, nature suffers. And when nature suffers, creativity on all levels suffers as well. So we have every reason to try and bring both of these things back. So as we're going through this together, we're really connecting into our inner feminine. And this works just as well for the guys as well as the girls. We have both sides. And into our inner masculine as well. So as you watch this, I'm going to share with you some flower essences in a second. If there's anything coming up in the terms of feelings for you, just notice them and let's find some essences that can maybe support this. So what we're looking for always for our inner feminine and our inner masculine to dance more gracefully together. And that's going to look different for absolutely every single person. So we can't really look outside of us for a model. And this is why essences work so beautifully alongside this, because they help us connect to our own divine purpose. So I'm going to start sharing with you some different essences.